Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, me, my dog and books. Whether you see dogs in this one today is TBC, but I have a cup of tea and a homemade double chocolate muffin. It's the weekend, my weekend reading vlog, which you'll see after this one. And it turned out so much better than my blueberry ones. I think the blueberry ones, the recreator was using frozen blueberries. So, like, double chocolate muffin. Anyway, this isn't a baking vlog. I'm not a baker. I like to dabble, but I thought I'd bring it along while I was having a chat with you because today I wanted to ask and have a discussion around reading trackers. Do you use a reading tracker? Do you use a spreadsheet? Do you an application? Do you bother tracking your reads? I want to have a chat around it because I'm having an internal debate about the current method through which I track my reading. So I recently saw Hayley Hughes do, it's one of the booktubers I have done for years. And before I'd seen this video, which I'll tag down below in the description, I have always, at the start of the last couple of years, been like, should I move to StoryGraph? Because I've been on Goodreads forever. According to my Goodreads account, that's me on Goodreads, I've been on Goodreads since 2013. So I've been on there for a long time. Been doing the reading challenges for 10 years. Now, that is not the reason to stay with an application, especially if you think there's cons to it really. I have a StoryGraph, but I always fail in keeping it up to date because it's two things to keep up to date, and I'm just rubbish at that. Like, I can just about keep my Goodreads up to date, and that's where I do my reviews. However, Hayley talked quite openly about, there was a whole thing about a really toxic author. She has her own story about that. Oh, hello Lucy, she's coming in. Hello. She goes up in her wee. Will we shut the door there so don't get noise? Or whatever your daddy's listening to. Oh, the other half spikes. Which really annoys me when I do these videos because it is a good space for the daylight, so I don't have to use like fake light. You coming over here? There's a wee bed down here that she likes to sit on sometimes too. It's technically Patty's, but Lucy's the boss of us all. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so go and watch her video. I'm not speaking on her behalf, but I think just how I think Goodreads tends to have quite a quick I'm dubious about their community guidelines, as in their safety of reviewers. I have heard of I'm quite careful about, I'm honest always, but I'm very careful about any sort of 1-2 star reviews. Let's see. Just can't wait. She'll be at that for about 5 hours. She tries to get comfy. What was I saying? Sorry, this is a bit of a ramble. Yes, I have heard of reviewers who authors have really gone for in their reviews when they've given them like ratings that they disagree with. To be honest, in my personal opinion, like review sites are sites for readers, not authors. And so, fair, absolutely against people spamming books because they don't like the person and they've never read the book. Amazon generally and other sites need to keep on top of that so that people aren't like negatively or positively reviewed by people that generally haven't read the book. It's different when the book is maybe about you or something like that. So I'm always quite careful because I don't want authors coming at me. I have heard of bookstagrammers, booktubers, booktalkers who've had authors come at them when they've been disgruntled by the readers' reviews. So I've always been quite mindful of that. Doesn't mean I'm like, I shy away from being honest about my views, but yeah, I also want to stay safe online, which isn't something you should have to think about, but I think especially as a woman you do. Anyway, this is a very long ramble, but I've had issues with Goodreads for a while. I would say in the 11 years that I've been on Goodreads, there's basically been little to no development of the app. No new functionality that I'm aware of. There might be a slight, I don't know, actually maybe they brought out, do you know, if they have done, they've been so small and almost unseeable. And as a site, it's not, given that it's owned by Amazon, which also gives me the ick. Amazon has already got control of me in respect of my ALXA. Just checking she didn't hear me. My Kindle, Prime Video, using Amazon generally for stuff. It's got me by the, and I don't like it. I don't like it. To be fair, when I'm buying books, I try and avoid buying too much from Amazon. I'll buy like indie or from World of Books or vintage charity shops and stuff. But when I don't totally abstain. Sometimes you get good offers and cost of living crisis and all that. Anyway, that is one thing I thought, you've got it sewn up here where you've like Goodreads, and I think a few people have said like when they rate on, the good thing about Goodreads is when you rate on it, it links with, or when you're reading your Kindle, it links with your Goodreads. I never do that because I always want to write a review, and sometimes I'm like, is it, haven't quite decided on the star rating I want to give it. So I did a TikTok where I was like, StoryGraph or Goodreads. So StoryGraph, I tried using it so you can export all your data really easily. Like you don't really need to know, like there's a step-by-step guide. I try and remember to put it below in the descriptions, but if I don't, ask me for it because it is so easy. Like if you have been on Goodreads for the length of time I have or longer, it is pretty easy to migrate from Goodreads to StoryGraph. But what is StoryGraph and why StoryGraph? First and foremost, StoryGraph is not owned by Amazon. That there is a plus point. The thing about StoryGraph is it's a Black women-owned independent. There is no association with Amazon. That in itself gives me joy. And I'm like, why am I not using it? And it's because I'm currently trying to use two, and I think I just need to make the jump and stick with one. But when I posted on BookTok, like StoryGraph or Goodreads, I'll put a link to it. If you're on TikTok, you can have a watch. It's not really my videos per se, as all the comments I got. There were so many comments lifting up StoryGraph and all the reasons you should like StoryGraph. So one of the things is obviously how it's owned, much better than the big corporate big tech that is Amazon, right? But its functionality is it is far superior to that of Amazon's Goodreads. Like with Goodreads, you've got the Goodreads challenge, which I've done since 2014. You also can do the same challenge. You can actually do loads of different challenges because there's loads of different challenges that have been set up by members or users of StoryGraph. When you're tracking your reading progress on Goodreads, it's either percentage or pages. And the good thing about StoryGraph, I discovered, is when you're tracking your reading, only like Goodreads can you track the number of books you read, you can track the number of pages, and it also tracks the number of minutes if you're doing audiobooks. Also, apparently, there's book clubs. Now, somebody said there's book clubs on Goodreads, but like I find the community bit really like, I don't know, I've tried to do some book groups on Goodreads, and it's not really enjoyed the interface. Do that because normally I do it on my app. Also, from looking into StoryGraph, since quite a few of the comments were talking about, there's loads of user-led functionality. So I think from what I've read, StoryGraph listen to their community a lot and their users, and will create like lots of new functionality based on what the users are asking for or want. So someone told me that the whole buddy reads feature. So if you're doing a buddy read with someone, so like when I'm doing buddy reads mostly on like BookTok or Bookstagram, normally I'll either make a reading tracker or we're just checking in with each other, and before you discuss it and you're kind of like, where are you up to? And then you have a chat. Well, apparently on StoryGraph, as long as you're friends with the other person or you become friends, and then you set your so you can set a buddy read together, whatever the book is that you're reading, right? And then as you're reading it, like say I get to page 100 and like put my thoughts in, like here's what I was thinking, blah 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 blah. That is technically then locked until your buddy read friend gets to that part, so nothing is spoiled. And so it's kind of unlocks bits. I just think it's great. That's a great idea. That's so good. I want to try that and immediately buddy read with someone. The challenge overall though is, by de facto, Goodreads is, by nature of who it's owned and it's been around longer, has way more users, so it's like the most popular one. That's not to say it's the reason I should stay, because never have been the most popular. I suppose I, to date, and untested, so can't confirm the StoryGraph, actually find the kind of feed easier to see what other people that I follow or are friends with reading and what they're rating things. I don't know if that's easy as that on StoryGraph, unconfirmed. I don't remember it being, but I have way fewer friends on StoryGraph, so that might be the reason. One thing, and it's a big thing, and I'd like to start to be able to use it in my like reading wrap-ups, like here, is something that you don't get on Goodreads, but you get in StoryGraph, which is loads of graphs and stats about your reading to date. So like the genre of books or the mood of books you've been reading, the pace, so whether it's been like slow, medium or fast paced, the like number of pages or average number of pages, non-fiction versus fiction, genres, formats, most read authors, any like personal tags you've put on them, and loads of lovely like charts and pie charts and things like that, which I would love to then be able to show, and none of that is available on Goodreads, none of it. And I love a good statistic. I think generally the interface, without getting too techie, is much cleaner in StoryGraph. I like the white space. I think its functionality, albeit different, it might just take me a wee while to get used to it, will be better. And is, because I have used it. I seem to start the new year with all great intentions of doing Goodreads and StoryGraph, and I always fall back to just doing Goodreads and then forget to update StoryGraph. That's my current state of play. I have read, 46, 47 roundabout books so far this year, and StoryGraph is currently 6, so I've not updated. I need to update that, and I need to figure out if I can just extract or whether I just update the manually and copy and paste my reviews. TBC. Also, StoryGraph is really good for having content warnings, which is, I don't think I've ever seen in Goodreads. Could be wrong, but I have zero recollection of that. Oh, another one, how could I forget this one, right? You can't do this on Goodreads, and like the fact that you can on StoryGraph, by the way, other book trackers do exist, and I'll maybe mention them because 2 people have mentioned to me on my BookTok, Fable and Bookmori. I'm not familiar with these at all, but I do want to have a look into them because they sound good. Also, they're not Goodreads, so you know, I'm open to having a look at other ones as well. If you've used Fable or Bookmori or any other ones and you highly recommend them, let me know in the comments below. What I was going to say is, on StoryGraph you can do full, quarter, half or 3/4 star ratings. Brilliant. Like, because anytime I'm doing those 3.5 stars, 3.75 stars, always have to put it in the review on my Goodreads because you can only do full star ratings. Plus, when you're reviewing, it asks you to kind of upfront, it asks you about complexity of the characters, diversity, I think, pacing, moods, a few other things which I think are so helpful for readers. Also things like, are the characters lovable, blah blah blah. I have to use HTML code to do formatting on my Goodreads reviews, which is just a pain. However, Goodreads StoryGraph has a rich text editor which allows you to do that thing and add in links and stuff like that, so it's just like better. Now, a lot of people say the social feature in Goodreads is not as robust as in the StoryGraph, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not really that social on Goodreads. I mostly use it to rate my books. I don't even put books on my TBR anymore. There I normally use like my own wish lists. Yeah, sorry, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'll buy it from there. It's just a singular place where I can have all the books that are currently on my radar that I want to get hold of, and sometimes I'll do that from a library or wherever anyway, because it's all in the one place. I keep it there. So I don't really use it as a TBR. I use it as a place to rate my books, do my reading challenge, and I'm not really social on it, so I don't actually think I'll miss that element. Although the fact that they've got numerous challenges and buddy read features on StoryGraph tells me that's probably just as social. Some people have said that StoryGraph doesn't necessarily have every book on their database. However, they make it really easy to add books using the ISBN number, so I don't see that being a problem. So someone mentioned when I was reading about it, they've got like a streak feature, which I think is like your reading streak to keep on top, a bit like when you're doing a streak on Duolingo or something like that. That I think is a nice incentive to keep you reading or keep you tracking your reading. I also personally am a bit dubious about the reading recommendations that Goodreads gives me, because I think sometimes, well, you know, there's a commercial reason for them to do that, isn't there? Whereas in StoryGraph, I have heard lots of people say it's pretty robust in respect of the recommendations based on your reading and your kind of ratings. So in short, I think I've talked myself into, in this internal monologue, to taking the jump and moving from Goodreads to StoryGraph. So, oh gosh, I appreciate that some of you, sorry, I think I've got a hair in my eye. I appreciate that some of you may have only just like added me as a friend, and I'll accept friends. I'm not going to delete Goodreads yet. So I will put a link to my StoryGraph there, so you can find me there too. And we can be friends, and you can see what I'm reading and I can see what you're reading and stuff. So please do add me if you want. I don't plan on like ditching Goodreads immediately, because it's going to take me a while to update StoryGraph. That's an evening or two admin task while maybe watching the telly, I think. So yeah, I'm glad I asked those questions on my BookTok, because I got lots of really helpful comments about the pros and cons on Goodreads, and a lot of the people that are still on Goodreads or really like Goodreads is A, because they've been on it for a really long time, or it's what they're most used to, mostly, and that's the reason I'm still on it. So yeah, I think I might make the jump, because there's so many things, and I think even like just ethically for me, not that like I diss anyone that's on, I've been on Goodreads for 11 years, so clearly, you know, it's taken me a while, but I do think I give too much of my money and time to Amazon, that anything that I can do to offset that is always a bonus. Anyway, I mean, there is always the fact that I did start, not last year but the year before, using an Excel spreadsheet that I'd seen another bookstagrammer use, and she shared it, and I borrowed the template and I started using that, which was really, really good, and then realised I didn't keep up with it because I was trying to keep that and my Goodreads up to date. So, you know, you don't need to sit with any platform, you could just do a fancy Excel spreadsheet and make your own charts. I know people that do that. I'm kind of jealous that they do that. I wish I had that level of diligence to my own reading. Or do you not even bother using reading trackers? Do you even bother? Let me know, because I'm genuinely interested. I've been tracking my reading for 11 plus years, so I kind of used to doing it. Anyway, that has been my midweek reading and ramble chat with you. Next week I have no idea what I'm going to be chatting to you about, so if you'd like to see anything particular, let me know. It'd possibly be my auto-buy horror authors, or auto-buy contemporary fiction authors, or books by Scottish authors that I enjoy. I can't decide. Or cozy reads. Let me know. Anyway, as always, thanks again for watching, commenting, liking, or even engaging with my channel in any shape or form. I totally appreciate it. And if you like this and it's the first time you've seen it, please do like and subscribe. And until the weekend, see you again soon. Bye.